Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into a place you've probably experienced firsthand, but very few of us actually fully comprehend. We are deconstructing Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. We're going to break down the sheer scale of the world's most fascinating aviation engine. Because honestly, it operates exactly like a self-contained city, moving literal mountains of metal and millions of people every single year without skipping a beat.
100 million. Seriously, let that staggering figure just sink in for a second. That is the number of travelers passing through this single facility every single year. It's a volume of humanity that's kind of hard to even wrap your head around. It is literally like moving the entire population of a large country through a single campus year in and year out.
Which, naturally, leads us to a pretty massive central question. How does one single airport move the world? If you've ever had a layover, well, there's a really good chance you've walked these exact halls. Atlanta doesn't just serve Georgia, right? It functions as the ultimate central engine of North American commercial aviation. It's this vital thread connecting the Americas, Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. And to understand how it pulls off this monumental task, we have to look at its geography, its business strategy, and the absolute extreme engineering behind it all.
Section 1. The Global Aviation Engine.
Situated just 11 kilometers south of downtown Atlanta, you'll find this vast, sprawling complex that covers a massive 4,700 acres. And thanks to this huge footprint and its incredibly strategic placement, it has proudly held the undisputed title of the busiest airport on Earth by passenger volume for almost every single year since 1998. Think about that. That is well over 2 decades of absolute global dominance in moving people.
You know the old saying, geography is destiny? Well, in aviation, that hits the nail right on the head. Atlanta is strategically positioned within a 2-hour flight of nearly 80% of the entire United States population. So if you're flying anywhere domestically, there's an incredibly high probability that routing your trip through Atlanta makes total geographic and economic sense. That one simple fact makes it an indispensable domestic transfer point, which of course naturally evolved it into a massive global gateway.
Section 2. The Ultimate Mega Hub.
Now, a mega hub of this unbelievable scale requires a dominant anchor to keep things running. And here, Delta Airlines is absolutely running the show. They command roughly 75 to 80% of the overall passenger traffic. Atlanta isn't just a pit stop for them, it is their flagship hub and their corporate headquarters. We're talking over 1,000 daily flights out of Atlanta to more than 220 domestic and international destinations. It is universally recognized as the largest single airline hub in the entire world.
But here's the thing. Even with Delta's massive footprint, true global connection needs a lot of diversity. This facility relies heavily on massive operational bases from other major carriers too, like Southwest Airlines and the ultra-low-cost carrier Frontier. Plus, as a major international gateway, it hosts direct long-haul flights from a whole roster of global alliance partners. I'm talking heavy hitters like Air France, British Airways, KLM, and Korean Air. It really is a highly orchestrated symphony of all these different carriers just sharing the exact same space.
Section 3. Engineering Extreme Efficiency.
Okay, so to handle over 1,000 daily flights without instantly grinding to a complete halt, the airport uses a perfectly organized, almost nesting doll-style layout to manage the constant flow of traffic. It starts with 2 main terminals anchoring the edges, the domestic on one side, international on the other. And framed right between them are 7 parallel concourses, labeled T through F. Altogether, these house a whopping 192 total gates. And this parallel design, it's absolutely crucial, because it means aircraft can easily taxi between the concourses without creating dead ends or massive traffic jams.
But here is the real kicker. To survive that incredible surface-level volume of roughly 270,000 to 300,000 daily travelers, you desperately need a pressure release valve. And that valve? It's right underneath the airport. The plane train is this hyper-efficient 3-mile underground loop operating in a tunnel beneath the whole terminal complex. It flawlessly transports over 200,000 passengers every single day between those 7 concourses, with trains arriving literally every 2 minutes. Honestly, without this underground artery, the whole surface layout just wouldn't work at all.
And orchestrating all of this chaotic movement above ground is a towering 398-foot air traffic control tower. To put that into perspective, it's the tallest in North America and the 4th tallest in the entire world. Up there, nearly 400 feet in the air, controllers have a completely unobstructed God's-eye view of the massive airfield. It allows them to perfectly sequence this crazy, high-speed ballet of arriving and departing aircraft.
Now, the airfield itself holds some pretty incredible engineering secrets. Check this out. Completed in 2006, the airport's fifth runway actually required building a 10-lane taxiway bridge directly over the Interstate 285 highway. So if you happen to land on this runway, you actually get to experience this totally surreal moment where your massive commercial airliner is taxiing across a bridge while standard highway traffic is just speeding directly beneath you. It's an absolutely stunning, brilliant solution to a tough space constraint.
But the true superpower of this airfield lies in its 5 massive parallel runways, which range from 9,000 to well over 12,000 feet long. Because they are aligned in this unique east-west orientation and run perfectly parallel to each other, the airport can actually handle simultaneous landings and takeoffs across multiple runways at the exact same time. That right there, that's the secret sauce. That is what enables them to manage over 800,000 aircraft operations every single year with unmatched clockwork efficiency.
Now, the extreme efficiency we're talking about doesn't just stop at the runway or the baggage claim. Atlanta offers some of the absolute best, most seamless public transportation integration in the country. You literally have a MARTA heavy rail station built directly inside the domestic terminal, which means travelers can zip to downtown Atlanta in under 20 minutes. Toss in direct connections to 3 major interstates and an automated SkyTrain that takes you right to a consolidated rental car facility, and you're looking at a masterclass in ground logistics that perfectly complements the air logistics.
Section 4. A massive economic footprint.
When you zoom out, the civic impact of this city-owned infrastructure, which is run by the Department of Aviation, by the way, is just staggering. We're talking about an estimated economic impact on the surrounding metro area ranging from $35 billion to a whopping $66 billion. This single facility acts as a multi-billion-dollar economic engine for the entire state of Georgia. It draws in massive tourism, anchors huge international business deals, and facilitates a totally global cargo network.
And you know, those billions of dollars represent real people and real livelihoods. 63,000 of them, to be exact. Now, these aren't the passenger numbers we talked about earlier. This is the staggering number of employees actually working at the airport. From baggage handlers and mechanics to the pilots, flight attendants, and retail workers, it makes Hartfield-Jackson the largest single-site employer in the entire state of Georgia. It is a massive job creator.
All of this leaves us with a really fascinating final thought to ponder. We've explored the 4,700 acres, the 5 parallel runways, the 100 million passengers, and the crazy underground trains. We've essentially just looked at an infrastructure scaled to the absolute maximum limits of modern engineering. But as global travel demand continues to skyrocket and aviation logistics rapidly evolve, what in the world will the mega hubs of tomorrow actually look like? How could future infrastructure possibly scale up from a behemoth like this one? It's an incredible question, and for sure, one that the top engineers of tomorrow are already rushing to solve. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.